These are Minecraft things, but they get more confusing as the video goes on. And hey, Mr. YouTube tells me a lot of people watch my videos at low battery. So subscribe if your phone's about to die, and we'll start first with vertical half slabs and vanilla. Obviously, vertical slabs aren't allowed to be in Minecraft. Mojang even said so. But I mean, when you're looking at walls, and I get like a polished, tough slab here, this is already basically just a vertical slab. And I guess that would be Mojang's argument, is that like, hey, okay, people can be creative with this and get that. But I feel like people would be creative if you added in vertical slabs too. It just feels like an unnecessary hindrance. There also used to be a glitch that was shown off in the past, we'll put it up on screen, where you could glitch out glass blocks in such a way and walls to get them in this state without having to have these like corner walls here. You could just have this. I guess now you could do it with a debug stick, if I'm not mistaken. See, as Observer shows off, we already got ourselves vertical slab. So look at this, by just copying over the block state, vertical slab, regular slab. I think put them in so then we don't have to be confused as to why we kind of have it, kind of don't. Speaking of something that we kind of have, kind of don't. Hey there, bartender. We've got the Illusioner mob. Now this is a mob that's fully coded, it's in the game, but it's not really. You're only able to get it with commands. And what's even more confusing about the Illusioner itself is the fact that if I were to fight it and I get it to go invisible, so actually it looks like it's one of these four, but it's not. There's a secret one with the particles that's standing like off to the side, and that's the one that killed me. Yeah, so if I go into spectator mode, I can't even see the invisible mob that it gave. I just see the particles from it. Weird. Even when you give it glowing, it doesn't give glowing to that. I mean, other invisible mobs, that would typically give it to the invisible mob at the source. Yeah, so I can see the zombie when it's translucent like this, and we give it glowing. Yeah, so literally it's just the Illusioner that has this behavior. How odd. Now see, honey blocks are sticky, but you can't use them to make sticky pistons. Slime blocks are bouncy, but you can use them to make sticky pistons. That's weird, but that's not the only differences between these, is that honey blocks you actually sink a little in. See, if I'm trying to walk to the side of this slime block, I can't. And that actually lets you like touch things behind this. So I could do this with honey and get burnt, but if I had the same thing with slime, completely fine. Oh, Observer showing off something. You can ender pearl through it. See, now I'm inside of the honey blocks. Look at this. I'm encased in honey, Observer. Unlike honey, who's in a case of their own. But if we have the slime over here, no luck. Yeah, you could shoot through it. And look, I get some parts of the inconsistencies are to make it so that like honey and slime, you know, you can use them separately. Observer says that we almost have sticky pistons made out of honey and like launcher pistons made out of our slime blocks. Just how you make yourself a little launcher. You just need to use honey. Oh, look, I landed on another thing of slime block. There we go. Here we've got the pig saddles. Now, if I get out our test subject and we give a saddled pig and a saddled horse, if I get on the pig, I can't see it in the inventory. Now, part of this is because it's added in so old that they just really didn't have this functionality. You don't even see the pig when I'm riding on it. I just look ridiculous here. But the horse, I see the horse moving around. I don't see myself riding it, but I can take off the saddle without having to kill the horse. Not the case for the pig. Are you even riding the pig in this case? I feel like you're just kind of conveniently floating above it. You look like a Lakitu. That's how you're riding a battle. If we're gonna make this, they did make horse saddles a separate item, which if that was the case, then okay, maybe that's fine. But all the other mounts, you can take it off, except for our pigs and our striders. But I think if they're gonna leave pigs on saddles in for nostalgia stake, why not just update it so that we can take at least the saddle off by like shift right clicking the pig again? It's a little nicer. Waxed oxidized copper. Now, the reason this is so strange is why on earth would you wax oxidized copper? It's not gonna oxidize any further. So I mean, it's just kind of keeping it as what? An unnecessary different item? If you strike it with lightning, does it not undo? Okay, so that's why you would do it. So yeah, if the whole point is that you're waxing it so that lightning doesn't strike it, first of all, don't put a copper rod on top of it like this. But second of all, you could just use some of that leftover copper and divert the lightning so that it's not getting struck anyway. So it being a separate item is a bit excessive. But yeah, you look at the differences here. You just type in oxidized and you just see a whole row of essentially clutter items. Makes any random items challenge you play just that little bit more annoying when you can get even more of those varieties to pull from. Now, this is for some reason the only ore block that functions this way. If you were to break this, it has a 90% chance to drop the ore block and a 10% chance of dropping the nuggets. Let's break this. All right, I got lucky there. Well, actually, the luck factor doesn't seem all that lucky because even though it's 90% chance to get this, unless you're using Silk Touch, you could accidentally get this, what is actually the rarest block in the nether. It's rarer than ancient debris if you can believe it because of how rare it is to generate. There you go. I got these nuggets. Terrible. At least I can smelt up the gilded blackstone glowstone for a full ingot. I can't do anything with the nuggets. It's not even enough to make a full ingot. Considering it's a block that you really just kind of want to use for decoration anyways, there's other better sources of gold. It really doesn't make sense to break this with anything other than Silk Touch, because you're just running the risk that you're gonna lose it. And finding other bastions, that's annoying. All right, Observer, we're talking about paintings, but you might see there's no paintings on these walls, and the reason is because these paintings weren't actually added in fully. These were added in back in the Wild update, these 4 elemental paintings, but only for creative. There's no way to get these in survival. And then in 1.21, they actually did add in a whole bunch of new paintings, and these still are not accessible. I don't get that at all. Yeah, it's very Avatar, which is a weird thing for them to even have a reference to with this. It didn't hint at anything coming up. I mean, maybe the breeze. Maybe we'll get other kind of elemental style mobs. We got a blaze and we got a breeze, but I don't know, what a dirt guy? Odd. Maybe Nether update, trial chambers, trail ruins, future update? I swear they did trial chambers because they kept spelling trail ruins wrong. Trials and trails. Like, the fact that they put those back to back makes me think that there was something with a typo. That's my own personal theory. Here we've got bamboo harvesting. Now, bamboo is instantly broken when we're using a sword, but because you're not supposed to be using swords for this, it uses double the durability every time that you're swinging at it. So it seems like, okay, maybe it's not the proper tool. Well, let's switch over to an axe. But while an axe does mine it faster than a fist, it's still slower than a sword. So wouldn't you just use a sword? If axes are the proper tool, it uses the correct amount of durability, why not just use the axe as the faster option? Frankly, there's no de facto way to get rid of bamboo. I guess slime block machines, you have a flying machine go through and automatically break it. That's all well and good. Doesn't use any durability. That just seems so strange to me. It seems like they wanted it to be a reference to cutting through forest with the machete, but why take double durability then? Oh, is it a bug? Here it is on the bug tracker. Thanks, Observer. Well, basically, whenever we're breaking bamboo saplings, bamboo, or cobwebs, which are all broken faster with a sword, it does double the durability of like swinging your sword against, I don't know, Observer or someone, which would say that it's the wrong item because the same thing happens when you use like a pickaxe to break dirt or your crafting table, but it's the fastest way to do it. So I don't know, it dulls the sword maybe, that's the argument. Just seems strange. Here we've got ore veins. Now we're gonna go on location for this one, Observer, but what we're talking about that's strange is these giant veins that generate throughout your world, these large iron and tough or copper and granite vein generations, which as you can see are very inconspicuous. A lot of players would just walk by and you wouldn't even notice this. Frankly, one of the strangest things about this is the fact that it's called a vein, which is very confusing because players were already calling these other things, like these diamonds, veins themselves. So if like you found an 8 vein of iron, well no, these are the actual veins. And look at how big this is. It's such a strange thing. I guess you'd find it and you'd feel lucky. So I mean, no complaints there. Yeah, and then just seeing like random raw ore blocks that are interspersed in this, it's something that a lot of players don't come across, and even if you do, you don't know to fully excavate it. So very, very confusing. You know what, Observer, I'm thirsty, so how about you come over here, I'll get you a drink. There you go, Observer. So with the mod Villager in a Bucket, we now are able to put our villagers inside of buckets for transportation. And it keeps their same NBT data, but look, we got villagers of all different sorts. We could even put our zombie villagers inside of buckets. Oh man, there you go. Ah, I spilled zombie villager everywhere. But yeah, look, it says their level, their region, and their profession. It's very useful for something that's very silly. Me and my friend. There we go. We could just keep them safe, put them on our item frame wall. Gotta catch them all. This feels like a fun challenge to go through and have to bucket every one of the villagers and return them back. Maybe we'll have to do that as a Skippy T video. All right, Observer, so if you were to look at any of the other weapons in Minecraft, you'll see that they list their damage right here. Got 9 attack damage for the iron axe, 6 attack damage for the mace, so on for our trident and sword. Bows, on the other hand, very hard to calculate, because the reason that the damage works out for arrows is actually based off of velocity. So I don't know exactly how that's gonna work. I mean, I know it's not gonna make his other eye any happier, but then you enchant it with power 5 and you don't even really know how the damage changes for it. I remember when we did the most damage possible in Minecraft video, you had to get basically like a range for the bows because you don't really know exactly what they're gonna do. A lot of it is user error. And then then that ends up being the reason why we're able to make something like the rail cannon, which can make that same arrow from a Power 5 bow do 1,200 points of damage just because it's going faster. I mean, even if it just posted a range on here, that'd be nice, because otherwise I really have no clue what I'm working from. Crossbows, not any better. They don't give you anything either. Oh, look at fantastic. 25% times level +1. Yeah, just keep that in your head. Observer, did you know that cake is a redstone component? Well, I'm sure you did because you're Observer. But sure enough, cake actually has a redstone level that it can give out. And here we're actually using it in our redstone system to align things against the water. So see, 2 cake aligns it perfectly, just enough of an indent so that when it flows over the rest of these, it'll actually get sucked up into the hopper. That's cool, but cakes with comparators give off different levels when you eat them. And I remember when we had the redstone utilities resource pack, the more cake that you would eat, the more that you could see the level that it was giving off here. Very odd. Really? It works through a wall? That's so strange. So that's it. Cakes are denoted as a container block. That's why they're able to kind of pick up in this way. That's so weird. We got a lot of white blocks here. But the strangest of which is the snowy grass. Now, you've probably seen this on some YouTube thumbnails before. It is technically one of the rarer blocks in Minecraft, but the reason why it's so rare isn't because you're not coming across it in your world, you're just not seeing it. Because this is actually the color of this grass whenever it has snow on top. So getting it to glitch out by having something like an Enderman pick it up is the only way to get this block, and it looks really cool. Yeah, they can't even pick it up anymore, so you have to get it in an earlier version, the Enderman, to place it back down. Very strange. All right, so netherite, ancient debris, is able to withstand lava. That makes sense, right? It comes from the nether, but when you do have it, with all that strength, it's able to withstand any kind of heat. The same can't be said for cactus. That's always bothered me. I don't know why cactus is so strong at deleting items. Such a weird behavior. Yeah, so even if your stuff pops, like we see there from Observer, even if your stuff pops out the shulker box, so much of it is getting dispensed back into the cactus that it still deletes half of the items. What a waste. Oh my god, you broke bedrock. But those same blocks, you place it next to it, the cactus can't withstand it. That's just weird. This one is a particular pain of mine, but the idea of having to sync up nether portals is so esoteric, I don't even know how to figure it out, even using nether calculators. And I think we all can relate to having just one time you'll go through your portal and then you're like on top of a new portal that generated. I remember this happened in July series. I just kept getting a tower of portals that linked up. You just get these dumb rings. It's like, how does that not connect to the same portal that was right there? You just end up with a bunch of obsidian and a bunch of headache. So if there was an easier way to link these together, I don't know if that means like you're doing some specific kind of bind between different portals or whatnot. Maybe something akin to like a lodestone to link the portals. That'd be nice, because having to go through and fine tune with a nether coordinate calculator, dividing your coordinates by 8. It's just such a mess. So the idea here is that you walk into your villager trading hall one day and all of a sudden it's a witch trading hall. And you don't even know why. It's usually because you AFK'd and just randomly happened to have lightning strike somewhere near your villagers. And now they're all witches. And unfortunately, unlike zombies, there's no way to change them back. I give them weakness potions and everything. Is so annoying. There's no way to restore the trades. They don't even keep it as data to them. It just, it stinks. I would love if there was some way you could brew a potion to get them back. I mean, they are witches for a reason, right? There we go. Yeah, that's how you get back at them. With a swift 1-2. And it also has such a wide range, too. Look at this. All of them end up as witches. It makes it such a mess to have a village. And by the way, if you want to have an open air village, forget it. You're just biding your time before you get this. I guess put it in a desert, but other than that, you're just gonna end up getting all your villagers hurt. Look at that wide AoE. Just terrible. So are you hungry? You usually are. But what we're doing here is having an edible version of all of these items. Now, this isn't using any mods. It's actually just possible now using a specific command. Blocks, heads, if you're gross. You can make ink sacks, squid ink pasta, charcoal if you've been naughty, diamonds if you're too rich. Just crazy that all of these are possible now in vanilla. It's very cool for map makers, but if you want to troll your friends, you can make them think that you're going to give them some of your diamonds or whatever, and then just eat it right in front of them. Here you go, Observer. Nom, 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 nom. Yeah, how's it feel? Oh, and it gives off dirt particles. Oh, because it's a head. That's what head brake particles look like. Soul sand. You're getting skip the tutorial everywhere, Observer. That's just gross. At least I pick up after myself. I bring skip the tutorial just as clean as I need to be. All right, Observer, we're going to be doing a little bit of converting today, because if I take a husk and I waterlog it, then after a while, this poor thirsty guy is going to turn into a zombie. And then after a while of that, the zombie will turn into the drowned. So it's possible to fully convert your mobs all the way this way. Now granted, you can't convert them the other way around, so you can't like dehydrate a drowned. And this makes it all the easier to do because the undead can't swim. So they just submerge down, and look at that. That would be fun if you could like dry it out with sponge. You just wring it dry. You like squish it with 2 pistons. So this is showing off different ways to do stealth in vanilla Minecraft. Now, you don't know this until we lay it out like so, but there actually is different levels of detection. So if I go into survival, currently at this part, I'm outside the creeper's detection range. Now, if I get over to this point, I'm safe while sneaking. This is 80% of its range. And then if I were wearing a creeper head, then that lets me go up to 50% of the range. And finally, if I had the invisibility effect from a potion, that lets me get to 7% of its range. So not fully close, and also I can't be wearing armor or anything, but to right about here, I'll be safe. I mean, granted, I don't think I look like a creeper, but just enough to convince it. Oh look, I got it stacked up. So by using all of these in conjunction, it's too much! So as you can see here, it actually might be hard to see because now with this resource pack, powdered snow is now raised 1 pixel higher to be at the same level as the snow layers around it, making it even harder to notice. Now granted, the only way that you'd probably notice it in regular Minecraft, if I were to turn this off, is because occasionally you'd just be walking through and you see a little bit of a lower pouch. That makes a little bit more sense. But with this turned on, your odds of noticing this, yeah, I even looking at it, I wouldn't know. Like if I let Observer just take the time to go and mess this up so that, here, I'll go look away and you make a little secret. All right, no peeking. Maybe a little bit of F5 peeking. I'm mostly looking at myself. So now if I walk back over here, yeah, this is so much harder. See, you can kind of study through by looking at the hitbox difference, but even then, this is like the glass maze in Pokemon. Much harder, and if you get it wrong, you're done for. All right, Observer, I'm going to turn on our next resource pack for this one, since the idea here is if we ring the bell, it does nothing. But if we press this, it might be a little harder to notice now that we've made the illagers with this resource pack look like villagers. And now, from a distance, sure, you can see dead on the eyebrows, but if you're looking at it from behind, a lot harder to tell. It actually kind of looks like how the villagers used to look with different robes that they would wear for their cloaks. But now, you're not going to know that these are hostile until you get right up next to them. There we go. Ow! Yeah. I would imagine this makes a raid look ridiculous too. We should go to a village and try that. Hey guys, don't mind me. I'm just, I brought my own drink. And Observer brought the snacks. All right, let's watch our evil villagers come. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, so when you watch this all play out, it's really tough to even follow the camera to what we think are the innocent villagers or not. And personally, I would love this as a feature if you could see just like random illager villages like this. Kind of like the abandoned villages that can spawn, but occasionally you'll just see the illagers before they get corrupted, like so. That's cool. The idea here, Observer, is that if we had an explosion of any kind, I'm gonna be able to survive this because the explosion landed on a Ow. Never mind. Oh, here we go. I'll be able to survive it now because if I place this, there's the singular dirt block. Not only does it not explode, but it also saves me from all the damage because it raycasts to the bottom of my hitbox at my feet. For some reason, that saves you from all damage. I've never understood that. And then if I put out a creeper, let that explode, still fine. All it literally takes is just 1 block. But yeah, just literally any block that you place there is going to be able to save you from an explosion, which I've always thought was strange. And as a little bonus, if you drop TNT on top of a slab, like so, it makes it so much safer too. Like weirdly so. Yeah, that reduced the TNT's blast radius by so much. If I went over here and just did the same thing. Yeah, here we go with our stone slabs. Our TNT, and for some reason, it only breaks like 2 slabs. A block underneath. Wow, okay, yeah. For some reason, when you have them as full blocks, they're not nearly as strong as they are as half blocks. Go figure. Yeah. Oh. Oh my gosh. So this is everyone is Steve. And not just everyone, but apparently the particles too. This resource pack is so weird. Wait, are the explosion particles Steve? Oh my god. Yep, so this is literally everyone is Steve. Oh my gosh, the stretched Steve textures on the horses is ridiculous. We've got Steve chickens, a Steve cat. I guess that's how a cat would wear pants. We've got Steve cows. The Steve Iron Golem's one of my favorites. Yeah, look at that with the Steve nose. Yeah, let's summon the Wither Steve. I like that the textures can't even fully work on some of the things because the models are different. Consistency. Oh no, it's Steve Warfare. Steve on Steve violence. Well, everything's coming up for Steve. Yeah, the Steve, everything is Steve. The bell is Steve. Ring that bell to get notified of all Steves. Oh no, the ever-present Steve the tutorial. Wait, Observer, could you open up this chest for me? Yeah, look at that. Look at the brain surgery just to see inside another Steve. We're reaching levels of Steve technology that no one's ever seen. The Piglin Steve head. I look ridiculous. I look like the mid-transformation in Emperor's New Groove. Pull the lever, Kronk.
And with that, folks, YouTube thinks that you might like this video, so see if they're right and have a good one, all right?